We're going to talk about using automation funnels inside of FluentCRM. There's a section there specifically for automations. We're going to talk about what you can do with them, when you should use them, and I'm going to give you some of my best practices. We'll take a look at the different components or segments of an automation, and that's what's going to help you drive FluentCRM to be your email marketing automation system. Hi, my name is William Beam. I'm a small business person just like you, and I'd like to go over and take a look at automations within FluentCRM to give you an idea of what the components are, how it works, and how you may want to use this within your own business. So let's go ahead and take a look. So within inside of the WordPress dashboard or environment, you can go to FluentCRM and you can see the dashboard over here. You can click on automations over here on this side, or up here on the top, you can see automations. You can click on that and it'll bring you to this page. So I've got a sample test automation here, and I want to give you a quick look at that so you can see some of the components. And really, this is what it looks like. It looks like a workflow or flowchart kind of environment. There is the first element up here, which is, in this case, it's list applied. This is going to be what the automation is waiting for. It is a listener waiting for some event or action to trigger the automation to take place. Then you can come down, and after this is kicked something off, you can take actions, you can color code these actions, and then you can make decision points. So is there a tag that this person has, a given tag that we want? There's a yes and a no. You can do other actions, or you can do nothing at all. And then it comes back down here, and then you can make yet another choice. So why don't we go ahead and start a new one, and that way we'll just be able to walk through this step by step. So we can create a new automation by clicking the blue button here, create a new automation. And the first thing it's going to ask you for is a name. This is just for your organization. It doesn't take part of the automation itself. After you've given it a name, there's a category. Some of these you're going to always see. So for example, WordPress triggers and CRM. The WordPress triggers is if a new user signs up on WordPress. The CRM is within inside of FluentCRM. So if you apply a user to a list or remove them from a list, same thing with tags. You can apply a tag to them or remove them. Or there's a new submission form from Fluent Forms. There's a small version of Fluent Forms that comes with FluentCRM. So if somebody signs up, you can say, yay, I got a new user over here. Let's do something with them. You may have others like this for Wishlist Member. If you use that product, it's an integration with FluentCRM, and it says a member was added to a membership level. In that case, you can create an automation funnel. If you have LearnDash, there's a few more. Someone enrolls in a course, completes it. Same thing with completes a lesson, completes a topic, or enrolls in a group. Here's my thought on automations. My preference is to almost always do it when a tag is applied, or perhaps when a tag is removed, but I like working with tags. Tags are consistent within CRM. They're always going to be there. The other part of this is when you need to do some troubleshooting and you don't know why something didn't work, you don't know which automation didn't work, and you're trying to do some troubleshooting. It's like, well, was someone supposed to have been started off on an automation when they were added to a membership level or when they completed a lesson? If you'll use tags consistently, I think it makes it easier because of what we're going to show you inside of the automation we're going to build. You can use tags to kick off your automation, and then you can apply a history tag when that happens as well. And I suppose you could apply a history tag for any of these other things that we're talking about, but my preference is tags because I use tags for metadata about a subscriber or a contact. Other things do work. There's no problem with them. This is just my style, and I just wanted to share that with you. So in this case, we're going to start this off with tag applied. And then it just gives you a little notice down here. Once you've selected it, this runs when the selected tags have been applied. And notice it's not telling you what the tag is. So we go ahead and click continue. And then this is the form that you get for that benchmark tag applied. So you can click in here, and I've got one tag, so I'll say test tag. And when this is added to a contact is added, any of the selected tags, you can have more than one tag in here. And also notice these conditions: restart automation multiple times for the contact for this event. By default, someone runs through an automation only once. There was a request out in the Facebook group for FluentCRM about this, because there are times when some people had automations where they wanted a user to go through multiple times. So now, if you need that to happen, you can check this box. If you don't need that to happen, just leave it as it is. So go ahead and click Save Settings. And there it is. This automation will only start when a contact inside of FluentCRM gets the tag called test tag applied to them. People who already had the test tag applied before you turn this on and made it active, notice over here, this is in draft mode. We'd have to click it on in order to be active. Those people will not automatically run through this. This happens from the moment this goes live. Anybody from that point forward who gets the condition that starts off the automation will go through it. Anybody who already had the tag applied to them will not go through this. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. If you're wondering why some people went through and some people didn't, it's only from the moment that you start this, and then someone gets applied the action that kicks off the automation. So let's go ahead and click on the plus sign. And I want you to notice there are three different things. There are action blocks, there are benchmarks or trigger blocks, and there are conditionals. So benchmarks are the things that basically that's the event that we're listening. So we've used one benchmark already. It's called tag applied. And these are the other benchmarks that you can use. That's within inside of the automation. You saw other benchmarks at the beginning of the video where I saw that there was one for LearnDash, there was another one for wishlist member. Those benchmarks are not included inside of an automation. They're only used to start an automation. So once you've already got an automation, you can have other benchmarks. Typically, as soon as you have an automation kickoff, you're going to have an action. And you can see there are several of them in here. You can wait for a while. You can send a custom email or set someone off on a sequence of emails. You can cancel automations. You can apply more tags, apply a list, remove tags. You can update a contact property, or you can add some notes. One of the things that I like to do, if I start off with a tag, the first thing I actually want to do is remove a tag, because once they've had that tag applied to them, I don't want them using that to potentially start off the automation again. This is if you've checked that box to move along and have someone potentially be able to go through an automation more than one time. If they have the tag, they may go through the automation again. So I want to remove the tag. In my mind, the tag is only there to kick off the automation. Once the automation starts, you don't need it anymore, you remove it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this tag, but I'm going to do something else. I'm going to add another tag. And this one would be, so now I've created a history tag, and I want to remove the test tag. The test tag itself was already removed. What I'm doing is I'm using tags as metadata to say, here's a historical record of what's gone on. So if I go back and look at this user again, since I removed the test tag, I won't see that in there, but I've got a history tag that I've applied that lets me know, okay, this user went through the automation because we removed the test tag inside of the automation. And that's the only place where I'll apply that new tag to remove them. Now, let's say I want to do something conditional. And here you see that we do have some options based upon wishlist member and LearnDash. And if you have other integrations within FluentCRM, you may see other conditional actions. So let's take a look and see if a wishlist member is the contact inside of a wishlist member group. So I've got a basic group here, and I'll go ahead and say save settings. And then this gives me my yes, no block. So if I am not in the basic level, maybe that's where I want to start them. So we can check over here to see if a user is in the membership level. If the answer is no, we can add an action. But again, take a look. I only see actions over here. And as I pointed out before, I don't see any actions about wishlist member. In other words, I cannot add them to wish list member inside of this funnel. Something else is going to have to do that. So what I can do is perhaps send them a custom email or sequence that invites them, so they click something that they join. And maybe I update a property, or maybe I just end this funnel here. And you can just say end this funnel here, save the settings. And over here on add action, you could do nothing. And you might have also come down here at the end to see I'm done, and I can end this funnel here. I'm not really going through a complicated environment right over here. All I'm doing is trying to show what the different pieces or components are. I'm going to recommend that you may have a lengthy process or funnel that you want to put somebody through, but I would not do that all inside of a given automation. I think automation funnels should be very short and sweet. So for example, we come over here and say like, someone's got the tag applied, I remove the tag, I apply a historical tag, and then I check, are they in a membership funnel? And here I've just said end this funnel because I don't have any email set up, but if they're not in, I might send them an email that says, hi, would you like to join the basic group? And maybe over here, I would just simply leave this blank or end this funnel down here, because these are all going to come down to the same point after any particular actions. And then that's all I want to do for this funnel. If they click on the link in the email, I don't want to be waiting for that over here. I would rather they click on it, apply a different tag, and then start yet another automation funnel. So that's something to keep in mind, is the longer these are, the harder it is to follow what the user is doing. I'd say keep them short, keep them sweet, and make different automation funnels for different steps in your overall plan. So yes, that means that you're going to have a lot of different automations inside of here, but it also means that it's easy to troubleshoot the individual ones that you're working with. They do one thing, they take an action, and then they end it. And then based upon that action, you have another funnel that's listening, and then it takes another look at it and makes its decision of what to do from there. The longer you make this, the more difficult it is to find out what may have went wrong. So that's why I say keep them simple and keep them short. When you're done, you can go ahead and click this and turn it on. You can check the stats if you want to see who's come through this, but I would say keep it short, keep it simple, and you can see, 0 people have come through and 100%. That's from our stats over here. And that's really all it is. You can view the reports once things are done. And since we haven't had any users come through here, there's really nothing to look at yet. But that is what automations are for. Step by step, I would create a different automation for each step, and it's much easier to follow and how users are going through your system. So automations can do wonderful things. I think the shorter you keep them, the easier they are to work, the easier they are to troubleshoot if something goes wrong, and then you start off a new funnel for a different step in your total automation journey. Thanks very much for joining me. You can find me at suburbiapress.com. We've got this and we've got other articles on the site. Please, if you like this, go ahead and give it a like. That helps us know and tells YouTube that they can share this with more people. Click the subscribe button. We'll have more information coming out. And of course, click the like button. That really helps us out a lot too. Thanks so much. We'll see you again in the next video.